How's it going, everybody? This is Travis with Weighing In with Travis Hartman. We're doing this like special edition. I don't even think we have a name for this. We used to do it called In This Corner. I guess we can go ahead and call it that. This is In This Corner with Brian Price, who is a great friend of mine. I've known him ever since I moved to Florida. Me and Brian are mutual friends with Mike Perry, who Mike Perry is fighting tomorrow night at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles on the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships. He's fighting Thiago Alves. So Brian actually is out there in California and he's going to the fight. But first, Brian, what made you go out there in the first place? Why are you out there?
Well, I've got the whole family out. My son, Cody, is graduating from the Art Center College of Design here in California with his master's degree in graphic design. So
Too
it's not
cool.
normal graduation where he gets a cap and gown and whatnot. There's an art show based looking at all of the students' projects that they've had over the last 2 years. It's more of a presentation of talent, and it takes actually 3 days. So
Oh,
when
wow.
I found out that Mike was fighting out here, the first thing I said is, I can't wait to go. And my family said, well, it's really not about going to a fight. It's really supporting Cody and whatnot. So we were out yesterday at the art center and went, actually at the convention center in Pasadena, and went through all the art, really looked at the displays. And last night, Cody called and said, Dad, if you really want to go to the fight, I appreciate all you did today. And graduation is in the morning and early afternoon. I think you can make it. And, which was a great thing for my son to do.
Yeah.
Got the tickets. I'm taking my other two sons, Hunter and Matt, over to see Mike and see the fights. And, the thing that excited me also is I text Mike Perry and said, hey, I'm out here. I'm going to come to the fight. And I see him on all the posts and everything he's doing right now to promote the fight. He took time within seconds to text me back and tell me, hey, unbelievable. I can't wait to see you guys. Hope to see you after the fight. Let's see what we can do. Which is, when you think about it, he's the biggest name in bare knuckle fighting. And in my opinion, one of the biggest name in combat sports today.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
been,
I was going to say combat sports for sure. I mean, he by far is the biggest name in BKFC.
yeah,
You're 100%. I think Mike's name is up there in combat sports. We're talking UFC, we're talking boxing, we're talking BKFC. Mike's name's up there. Like he's
right.
earned that right now. And that's what's cool. And I think that's cool that you brought that point up that Mike's a real one. If you know
Yeah,
Mike and you've been around Mike and you knew Mike before Mike was even in the UFC. So that's what's pretty cool about it. And you stayed friends. And you're the reason why I met Mike Perry. We were at Gators in Winter
right.
Springs. I think it was me and my brother and maybe Brandon. I think I can't remember
Yeah,
for sure. And Dale was there, I think, too. And we were there, and you're like, "Hey, you got to meet this guy, Trav. This guy is really cool." So he showed up, and I remember I called him. I said he was the Arturo Gatti of the UFC because he looked good, but he was just like that blood and guts warrior. And that's when he started doing the BKFC. I was like, if there's ever been a sport made specifically for somebody, it's bare knuckle championships for Mike Perry. Like, is he
well,
not bred? Is he not bred for that?
I agree with you more. The guy has more heart than anybody I've ever met. And I don't think he understands, what pain is anymore. I mean, we've seen him walk through and take some of the biggest shots in any form of boxing or any form of combat sports and come out the other side and still landing big shots, almost looking like he actually enjoyed getting hit,
Yep.
which I thought was pretty damn crazy. It's and I will tell you, there's been as you said, I've known Mike quite a while, and even before he was in the UFC, and he actually taught classes that we attended
Yep.
and worked out. And he couldn't have been the nicer guy in terms of showing people stuff, but he shows you for real. And what I mean by that is we were actually, back in the day, hitting each other, getting hit back, and actually learning how to be a fighter or to attempt to learn to be a fighter.
Yeah.
But it always kept it real with all of us, no matter what level anybody was at. And I always appreciated that for him. And I do have a history going to his fights. I went to his first UFC fight when he fought the South Korean guy, Lum, I think his name was.
Yeah.
And Mike destroyed the guy in his first fight, in his first UFC fight. And I couldn't have been happier watching it. I also went to the Felder fight, Paul Felder, and it was one of the bloodiest, I mean, fights I've ever seen in the history of UFC at the time. Both guys going back and forth landing, and it was almost like who can hit who the hardest. And
Jesus.
in the end, Mike hit him harder,
Yeah.
and it was amazing. So traveling here and being able to go to this fight, I think it's a good sign because any fight that I've gone to travel to see him do, he's won.
That's
And
good.
so,
That's good for Mike.
yeah, I expect him to kick ass at this fight. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen any of the videos that he's posted recently or any of the pictures. He's got this giant chain now, the King of Violence he wears.
Yeah.
And if you look at him, the dude is ripped. I mean, more ripped than usual.
Yeah.
He also yesterday this clip where he was throwing hands on pads with people. Then he dropped down onto the floor and started doing reverse push-ups. But
I
then
didn't see that.
Oh, let me tell you something, Trev. It was almost some Circus Olay shit, where he point down and his legs would come out over him, and then would pull everything back and go back up. I mean, amazing feat, in my opinion, feat of strength.
Yeah.
So his opponent tomorrow night is in for a hard night. Most people if they're fighting and they say, well, I knocked somebody's teeth out. Mike hasn't knocked people's teeth out. He breaks people's teeth.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine the force that he landed with the shots that broke somebody's teeth.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That Luke Rockhold, he broke Luke Rockhold. This is where Mike. So I'm not really a big fan of the BKFC just because it's super brutal. I know that's right up your alley, but it's just, I had Mike here in the gym and we did In This Corner with Mike, and I looked at Mike and I was like, Mike, I fought the best in the world. I fought Terrence Crawford and I went the distance with him, but I don't think I could do the BKFC. I was like, there's something different in you that's not in anybody else. I was like, I know I'm a fighter and I know I got that, but you have something special and something different. And I mean, we see it, right? Like you see it, that he's an animal. And the first BKFC fight I ever watched was the Michael Venom. Is it Michael Venom Perry or Michael Venom Scott?
Michael Venom Page, MVP.
Yeah, MVP. Oh my, I've never watched BKFC. That was the first one I ever watched. And after they announced that it was a draw and they have to go one more round, I got up and I was like, nobody's beating Mike Perry in the final round. Nobody. I was like, this guy will literally die in the ring. And I don't ever want that to happen. But I told him that in person. I was like, dude, I knew as soon as they called that a draw and it went into one more round, there was no chance that MVP was going to beat you. And it happened.
No, but even when you were watching it, if you look at the expression on MVP's face when they told him he had to go another round, I mean, the dude looked like he was going to cry, and he probably was crying. Yeah. And you looked at Mike just wiped the blood off his face, and almost you could see, like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, wow. The shirt that you're wearing is literally him like licking blood. I mean, that's Mike Perry. Like it's crazy. The guy's crazy, but I think what people don't know you very well, but I think he's got a little bit of you in him too. And that's kind of why you probably love him. You got that, like you're in your 60s and you train with all these young dudes. You do boxing literally almost every morning of your life, and you still do that. And you even sparred with Mike Perry. So Price Boxing is something that you do up here in Winter Springs. So I think that part of Mike is what you have inside you too, but Mike actually gets to go out there and perform it, right? But I think you have that same mental.
Mike can go out and do it without having to worry about going to jail.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest with you, I mean, what he does is it's the biggest street fight that you can imagine. I mean, there's no padding.
Yeah.
On what those guys do. But one thing we mentioned in the beginning that I also want to point out again. Mike Perry is one of the nicest guys that I've ever met. Mm-hmm. So he has, and one thing, he's a great promoter. He's like what McGregor is from promoting, like Ali was in promoting, and like some of the freaking wrestlers are in promoting, where he builds a fight and he starts with a whole from as soon as it's an announced fight, and he's able to carry it all the way up and really build it into something which I think is a huge skill. And I think the bare knuckle fighting league championship is lucky to have Mike
Agreed,
in there
100%.
because he is a good face of the organization. He really is.
Yeah.
I think it's I literally cannot wait to get to the Peacock Theater tomorrow night to watch the fight because I get all excited when he fights. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
I mean,
I've watched fights with you. You're in the fight, yet you're not in the fight, but you're in the fight.
right, which is a lot of fun. We got a great group. You mentioned the Price Boxing. We have a really great group of people. All mixes of life, professionals. Every level of people, and come together for our little boxing group. And it's really a nice little thing. It really is. I mean, boxing does bring people together.
And you know what? You're right. And we're huge fans of boxing. We're huge fans of the combat, sport, the martial art of boxing. And I think you're right. I think at the end of the day, boxing brings people together so well. And I think it speaks volumes of Mike having friends like you. And I known you, and you're such a loyal, great dude. But it speaks volumes of you as well, Brian, that Mike is so nice and responds like that, because Mike knows that you want nothing from Mike but to see him succeed.
Right.
You're not one of those guys that, oh, I want free tickets or I want free stuff. You're not that guy, and you never have been. And that's why the real ones like Mike, they see that, because he's seen that his whole career. People that come in, come out, latch onto him. And it's good to have people like that in your life. And I think that Mike, if we could speak for him right now, I think he would say the exact same thing. And Mike's a good dude, and he knows that stuff. And man, he's such a good dude that we're not even that great of friends. I know Mike, I do. We chat all the time via social media, but I mean, we didn't get to hang out. We didn't grow up together, things like that. But when I asked him to come on the podcast, he was like, I'm doing it, Trav. Let's go. And he drove here and he wanted to do it in studio. And I was like, let's go. And that's Mike Perry. Like he's such a great dude. And I even talked him into it. This is a week before he was supposed to be possibly fighting Logan Paul. Remember when he was on hold?
Yeah, the backup. The backup.
So I did a podcast literally a week before that. And because our podcast is, bourbon, beards, and boxing. So I was like, I drink bourbon on here, man. I was like, I'd be honored if you drink some with me. He was like, I possibly can fight in a week. He was like, let's do it. So I have the same stuff that we drank. It's called Blanton's Gold. I'm drinking it today as well. So this is in good to cheers to Mike to do good. Brian Price is out there. He hasn't lost when Brian Price has been there. So Price Boxing is representing in full blast out there. I'm drinking the Blanton's Gold, which was good luck last time too.
One thing, Travis, I want to tell you about the Blanton's Gold. That is the drink of my wife. Lisa loves the Blanton.
Oh, I love that.
We always have it, and I'm lucky to have the family that I have. I mean, we all come together to something like this for Cody, but for Lisa to say, hey, why don't I'm glad you can go to the fight. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm very appreciative for what I got.
No, I agree with you 100%. I know your family. I know Hunter. I know all of them. I know your wife. They're amazing. Yeah. Lisa's amazing. She sent us flowers and a balloon when we had the twins too. You guys come out to have dinner. We appreciate you guys. And you know that. Like, you're a real one, Brian, and we love you guys. And I think it does speak volumes of your family, how they know what you're passionate about, and you're passionate about your family, but they also know that, you're out there. It's once in a lifetime kind of a gig. So to see you to go Mike Perry is pretty cool, man.
Thanks.
Also, I saw we were texting before you got to go to Wild Card, and your son got to hang out with Freddie Roach.
Well, let me tell you something even funnier. I look out this window right here, and if can I show you out this window?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Could you see that?
Yeah, that's Wild Card.
Yeah, that's Wild Card right there. So my hotel is basically attached to Wild Card Gym.
That's pretty cool.
So I like when I opened the window, I looked out and I'm like, damn, that's Wild Card. So we went over there today, and I tell you what, another group of guys that couldn't have been nicer. I mean, you go in there, they look like some rough dudes, man, and they're banging in there, but nicest guys in the world. We talked to some people. went down, actually bought a couple shirts, and I had walked away, and Freddie came out and talked to my sons, which was, just a nice guy,
Yeah.
and it shows you how the boxing community across the board is. If you treat people right, you get treated right.
Yep.
I think it's great.
I think it speaks volumes too, because what people don't realize is Freddie Roach is gearing up right now with Jaime Munguia to fight Canelo Alvarez next weekend. Wow. So the fact that he's still so open and doing stuff like that is pretty cool, man, because he's in the middle of Jaime Munguia's biggest fight of his career is fighting Saul Canelo Alvarez, and that's literally the Cinco de Mayo weekend. So the fact that he was there and chat with you guys, that does speak volumes about Freddie Roach, and I'm glad to hear that, because being in boxing my whole life too, is just, it's good to hear and see guys spreading the boxing word and just the boxing vibe in such a positive way.
Definitely, Travis. I can't wait to stop by your house and drink some of this Blanton's Gold with you.
So I've been stepping my game up with the Blanton. So I have Blanton's regular, I have Blanton's Gold. I also have something called Blanton's Straight from the Barrel.
Okay.
It's supposed to be, and I actually, to be fair, I like it better than the Gold. So I'm gonna have to, Lisa's gonna have to come try it. You're gonna have to try it too.
Definitely. But
so Blanton. So Blanton's is pretty hard to get. It's a little expensive too. When I drink it with Mike, I sip it. Mike shot it. So fast. I looked at him, I'm like, we're supposed to sip that.
He does everything hard. He does everything hard.
It's all or nothing, man.
Yeah, for sure.
He's like Will Ferrell in Talladega Nights. He's like, you're either first or you're last. And Mike wants to be first every time.
That's how he feels.
Yes. That's why he's doing good. And you know what? I'm happy to see him doing good. He's got a family now. He's got 2 kids. He's got his wife. And he seems like he's really settling into being that family man. So I'm glad that he's finally getting paid for what he's doing, because as we all know, the UFC really wasn't paying him.
Oh, no.
He was not living off of that wages at all. And that's why I couldn't be more happy to see a guy like Mike Perry, who puts blood, sweat, and tears and his life on the line to do what he loves and to support his family, because he's a family guy. At the end of the day, he's got 2 kids and a wife. He's got that family life going on. So I love to see that. I love to see guys like you out there supporting him. I know he's going to appreciate that, man. I hope that I need you to get some video or something of the fight, but also give me some after footage video of you and him after the fight.
I will do that for sure, Travis. Thank you very much for being on.
Absolutely, man. It's always a pleasure, Brian. You know that we love you on the air, off the air. It doesn't matter, but I appreciate you taking some time to come on Weighing In with Travis Hartman. We appreciate it. Also, he's out there again to see Mike Perry fight Thiago Alves, April 27th at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles. Go to bkfc.com to see where you can watch that, see if you can buy tickets, but go support our boy Mike Perry.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, brother.